What up, guys? Gonna be a vid for my Raw review tonight, and let's just say this, in my opinion, I mean, what a Raw to end 2010. This Raw was fucking awesome. Um, I made a preview for Raw earlier, but for some reason it wouldn't upload, and what I said on it was I want to see a good Raw, a solid Raw with good wrestling, and not stupid bullshit segments, if any, just promos, and I pretty much got what I wanted. Not to mention, you're either Nexus or you're against us, bitch. CM Punk, the new leader of the Nexus. I'll get into that later, but I mean that's pretty much the top story of Raw. It was fucking awesome. Let's just get right to it. Um, Raw was in Albany, New York tonight. So Cena out to open the show. He says his normal stupid bullshit. Talks about Punk and shows what Punk did to him on Raw and SmackDown last week. Cena calls about Punk, and out he comes. He says, "Look, there's John Cena, everyone," and he calls him thoughtless and heartless, and he calls him a hypocrite. And Punk says Cena was fired, and yet he still showed up later that night after that emotional speech. Even though he was fired, he still showed up. He says what he did to Wade Barrett after TLC was uncalled for, or something like that. And Punk calls Cena a hypocrite. Talks about he ended his good friend Dave Bautista's career. Talks about Vicky Guerrero and all the stupid shit Cena says about her. And, Punk says, "You're not funny, Cena," whatever. And Punk says he knows the real Cena. All this is going to stop. Your hustle, loyalty, and respect is just a facade. He says, Cena basically calls Punk down to the ring, says this is where we settle our business. And Punk says, tonight it's not the John Cena show. Tonight's a CM Punk show, and we're going to do it on my terms. And he says the real surprise is later tonight, and it's a night Cena will never forget. And right there, I was like, I hope it's worth something, because the WWE has done this before where they build up surprises like this, and it turns out to be nothing. Then Sheamus versus Orton, King versus Miz is hyped for later tonight. We go to commercial, and back from commercial, it's Ted DiBiase's in the ring with Maurice, and then Santino and Tamina come out. So it's Ted DiBiase versus Santino Marella. And Santino wins in about 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes, 3 minutes at most. And once again, Ted DiBiase jobs. What the fuck is going on with WWE? They're fucking up with this kid so badly, it's pissing me off. I'm a big DiBiase fan. I want to see him succeed. And it just sucks. Hopefully this is just part of a storyline where he's just losing a lot on a losing streak, kind of like that losing streak MVP had a couple years ago, and then he starts winning. I hope that is it, something like that. But this is just unbelievably frustrating to watch this. I mean, jobbing to Santino, the Cobra, didn't even get hit with that. He got rolled up. And then he got hit with a Cobra after the match. I mean, really, he and Tamina, they both hit Cobras on Maurice and Ted. I'm just sick of this, man. I want to see Ted DiBiase succeed, get wins. So, after that bullshit, Miz, A-Rai, and John Morrison are backstage locker room segment. Basically, Morrison walks up, Miz and Riley were talking about their matches tonight. Riley was facing Morrison, and obviously Miz was talking about facing King. Morrison walks in. He says to Miz, I'll add a stipulation to the match tonight. If I beat Alex Riley, I get to choose I get to choose the time and location, for time and location for a WWE title match, and the stipulation for it. And says if Riley beats me, I'll forfeit my #1 contender spot. And Miz is like, really? He's like, you'll do that? He's like, all right, I accept, or whatever. So that was shit. So that's on. We go to commercial. Back from commercial, Morrison is out, followed by Alex Riley. And I said it was like, if John Morrison loses this, I'm going to flip a shit. But John Morrison versus Alex Riley. Cole calls Alex Riley the real deal and very underrated during the match. I don't think he's won a single match since he's been in the WWE, since he's been off of NXT on Raw. I just see him lose every week. So I don't know what Cole's talking about. Miz thrown out from ringside. He tripped Morrison up on the ropes. I don't know how the ref didn't see it. It looked like Charles Robinson, the referee, was looking right at him. So I guess he didn't see it, or they fucked it up. Threw Miz out. Morrison wins with that running knee on Riley. So Morrison wins, keeps his title shot intact. He walks over to King after the match. The announce table hugs him and says, and you could hear him tell King, next week I'm gonna have my title shot next week against Miz, and it's gonna be a Falls Count Anywhere match. So I mean, I was kind of. I mean, I don't know why. Hopefully, we'll see what happens next week. But I'm kind of like iffy about this because I figure like why not just pick the Rumble? Unless they have something planned, that's the only other reason they could be doing this. I mean, they gotta have something in mind. But again, I don't want to see Miz lose the title that quickly. But then again, I'd love to see Morrison win the WWE title. So I don't know. We'll see what happens next week. Hopefully, the feud continues past next week to the Rumble. We'll see what happens. So then Miz is looking really concerned at the top of the ramp as Morrison announced that. So Sheamus versus Orton is hyped, as well as Punk calling Cena out later. We go to commercial, and back from commercial, Cole is just bitching what just happened. Miz, this is a travesty. This needs to be protested. Oh wow, Falcons. Looks like they're gonna win this. So yeah, and then backstage they show Miz and Alex Riley yelling at each other, and Miz just screaming his head off at him, and he tells him, you need to. He's like, I don't know. He was just saying you need to get your head in the game. Like that was bullshit. Out, whatever. Wasn't really here talking about that. Then it goes to Punk talking to a cameraman. It tells me he wants him to capture like everything tonight that happens to Cena because it's gonna be epic or something like that. I didn't catch all the words. Then we had Daniel Bryan with the Bella segment, and he's like, "How was your Christmas, ladies?" And they're like, "Good. We sucked a lot of dick." Nah, they didn't say that, but I wouldn't be surprised if they guzzled different sort of eggnog, if you know what I mean. Um, and then Tyson Kidd in his body, who's growing some hair actually, so doesn't have just that little shitty ass whatever flip in the front. He walks in with his bodyguard Jackson Andrews, who is just an absolute monster. Um, and he says, 2011, Daniel, I'm going to be the new United States champion. They have a little segment, didn't really say much, it's kind of bad, but it was okay. And then next you go, Randy Orton was talking to Josh Matthews in the locker room and says, no respect to John Morrison, but I hope Miz wins next week because I want to beat him to become WWE champion once again. And he said tonight he's going to put an end to Sheamus's reign as King of the Ring. We go to commercial, back in commercial, and Mark Henry is out. Oh, joy. And out comes Tyson Kidd with Jackson Andrews, and so Tyson Kidd versus Mark Henry is the next match, and Mark Henry wins. Like, for what purpose? Really? I mean, I know it's hard for Kidd or anyone, a small dude, to work with a guy like Mark Henry, but after the match, he gives Jackson Andrews the World Strongest Slam. Kind of impressive. So we go King versus Miz is hyped again, and Cole just sucks Miz's dick a little more, pretty much, like he always does. We go to commercial. Back from commercial. Out comes Miz, cuts a promo before the King can even come out. It was actually kind of fun. I was like, why does the crowd still chant what? Like, it was invented, what, like, early 2002 by Stone Cold? I mean, he's been at WWE since 03, like, as an in-ring competitor. Like, really, they're still saying, and half the kids probably don't even know what the hell that means. Like, do they even know what they're talking about? But Miz is like, really? After each one, what? Really? What? Really? He's like, you all sound like a bunch of ducks. Quack, quack, quack. And I thought it was kind of funny. Good stuff from Miz. Then King comes out. So Miz versus King. John Morrison came out. Miz was like dominating most of the match, and Cole's like, he's just embarrassing Lawler. And like, and then Morrison came out on the ramp during the match, distract Morrison. And then there was and then, so this was weird because it looked like a botch. King was lined up in the corner and Miz was getting ready for, that running clothesline he does where he ends up like sitting through the ropes with his feet, his legs. So Morrison came out while Miz was ready to deliver that to King. So Morrison came out and then Miz, he runs and does it, but he goes with the left hand, but kind of just, it looks like he stopped a little right before he hit King, but he still hit him a little. And then he runs back and then does it again with the left hand again, but this time King blocks it. I just thought that was very strange and very poorly performed. Yeah, it was bad. So that botchery happened. Then Miz got tossed to the outside of the ring at one point, and the referee was distracted by, like, Alex Riley was, like, bitching at the ref. And Morrison hit that running knee that he finished Riley off with earlier night on Miz. And then Miz is just dazed on the outside, and King wins by countout. So King wins again. And then Miz looked really pissed. Like, I had never seen him look that pissed. It's actually kind of cool. So Sheamus backstage with Punk after that, and then Punk tells him to keep an eye out for what he's got planned for Cena, especially after all the time Cena went out of his way to insult Sheamus and whatnot. And he wishes Sheamus luck against Orton tonight. And Sheamus says, "Fella, by now you should know I don't need luck." So it's good stuff. And then Go to commercial and back from commercial. Cole once again bitching about what happened to Miz between him and King. The match. Then we have Natalia. We have Natalia ringside with King and wow, fucking Saints scored. Natalia's at ringside looking sexy with King and Cole, and King gets a kiss on the cheek from her. Melina Alicia Fox versus even Gail Kim. And Gail Kim, I knew she was an impressive wrestler when she started in WWE. She won the women's title in her debut. I know she was a good diva or knockout in TNA. She showed some good stuff in this. Like, why the hell doesn't she get a push? Like, she's just doesn't need another one talent who's not used right. Like, what the fuck, man? It's so unbelievably. If I was in that creative team like department, I would just tear shit up, like the writing up. Just do. I just don't understand who gives talents the pushes and who decides who get buried or whatnot. I don't know how it works, but I just think it's unfair because Gail Kim is pretty fucking impressive. And so Melina and Alicia Fox won after Melina hit her finisher. I like this heel Melina. She looks good with her hair how it is. She looks sexy as usual. And Natalia's in the ring after, and Melina looks like she's apologizing for last week, and they shake hands. Then Melina tries to go for a cheap shot, and Natalia decks her. And Melina walks up to the ramp. Then we go backstage. Punk talking to a couple of trainers, and he basically he's like, "You guys need to be on notice for what happened to Cena tonight or whatever." We go to commercial. Back to commercial. Daniel Bryan versus Zack Ryder is already like underway. Daniel Bryan makes Ryder tap in like 2 minutes of the bell lock. And an email comes in after the match. When the fuck will this storyline end? Like, really? Hopefully sometime soon in 2011. But then before Cole can even finish, all of a sudden, like, you see something that happened to King, and it's Miz, who I guess came through the crowd, and he's beating the holy hell out of King. He literally beat the crap out of him. He stomped him, beat him down, threw him into the ringside barrier. It looked like a kill. Threw him into the steps. Then he hit a skull-crushing finale on the outside, on the concrete. Just brutal. Then reps come down, back Miz off and whatnot. And, yeah, that was just good stuff from Miz. And then Miz walking back. Yeah, backwards. We go to commercial. Back to commercial. Cole recaps what just happened to King. And surprisingly, he says he can't condone what Miz just did. No kidding. I actually have some respect for your fucking Hall of Fame broadcast partner who's worth 10 times more than you. Yeah, so it's actually kind of cool to see Cole, not like something the Miz did for once. Then out comes Sheamus, or King Sheamus, and then Orton comes out. Sheamus versus Randy Orton. This was actually a pretty good match. This was obviously the match of the night. Got it like 13, 14 minutes, I think. A couple of commercials, but it was a pretty good match. Orton, he's added some moves to his repertoire. He used a Luthez press in this. He used the angle slam again. He used a superplex. You don't see too many superplexes anymore. This is a good match, man. Really good match. Sheamus, who he hit a flying shoulder block from the outside, like off the top rope earlier in the match, which is pretty cool. I've never seen him do that. And then he tried to do it again, but Orton caught him in midair with an RKO for the 3. He's pretty sick. It was a good match. Orton was bleeding on his back the whole time. But I'm going to make a part 2 of my video, guys, because for some reason, even though I'm a partner, I can't go past 15 minutes. I don't know why. Even though it says when I'm about to record a video, you are now enabled to record your videos longer than 15 minutes. So I'm going to make a part 2. All I have left to talk about is that main event segment, so stick around. Peace.